Hey everyone, this is Lori Fetrick, and I have a special announcement right now, and that is this. So really pay attention if you can. And that is if you go in and you rate and review my podcast, what I'm going to do is I am randomly going to choose one person per month. Yes, one person per month I'm going to grab, and I'm going to have you come on to my podcast, and we're going to do a rapid fire. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. It'll get some audience participation out there, and I want to give back. So this is me giving back to my audience. So please go rate, review my podcast, and I will pick at random one person per month to come on my podcast and do a rapid fire. So thank you so much, and go right now and rate and review. Hi, and welcome back to Chillin' with Ice. I'm your host, Lori Fetrick. I am so excited to have you here today with me. I've got a great guest. She is a 7-time IFBB Olympian champion in figure, and her name is Wendy Fortino. Did I say that right, Wendy?
You did.
Yay,
you did.
Fortino. She is one of the co-hosts of FemFlex Friday, and also now the new host of Wolfpack Podcast. So I'm very excited to have her in today, and you guys don't want to miss this episode because we're going to talk about diet. We're going to talk about everyday average people getting in shape. We're going to talk about the magic pill that everybody thinks that's out there, and we're going to talk about what it takes to be a champion in this industry today. So Wendy, thank you so much, and welcome to Chillin' with Ice.
Thank you for the warm welcome. I am so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here chilling with Ice. Hello.
I know. Pretty soon I'm going to have it Chillin' with Lori. It'll always be Chillin' with Ice, but I always battle using my name. So they're like, you can't use Ice. Well, you can't take the past away from me either.
No, it's funny because whenever I tell people about you, I always say, Lori Ice Fetrick. I call you Ice. Ice from Gladiator. So, I mean, it's part of your introduction behind your back too. So
it's a nickname. That's
you can't escape it.
I can't
follow you.
I know, exactly. So, Wendy, let's get into this. And I want to know what you were like as a child. I want to go back because you're such an athlete. I mean, were you born this way? Were your parents athletic? How did you get into this?
I was really athletic as a kid. You probably were too. But when I was young, it was so funny because I remember hitting about I was a gymnast when I was young, but I remember I was in 3rd, 4th grade, and we started doing those physical fitness tests where you like shuttle run to the eraser and stuff like that. And I was beating all the boys all the time. And I remember just being like, okay, so I guess I'm kind of good at this. And then, I got to 5th, 6th grade, and all the boys want to arm wrestle me, and they would lose because, girls develop faster than boys do, because as soon as I hit 7th grade, they were all able to beat me at arm wrestling. But no, I just knew early on that I was definitely just kinesthetically that was my form of intelligence. I found a lot of success in athletics. I struggled a little bit in school early on because I'm a dreamer. I'm a creative dreamer, problem solver type of person. So formal education was really difficult for me. I'm not good at focusing or test taking or multiple choice. I have a extrapolate explanation for every single thing. And I've always been that way. You know what I mean? But sports and athletics was something that I really found success in. So it made me feel like I was doing really well at something in my life,
How tall? Actually, how tall are you right now? Right now? I mean, how tall are you?
Right now, hopefully I stay 5 feet tall. But they do say you shrink as you get older. And I'm, as I get older, I'm just hoping I can hang on to those inches because, man, 5 feet is already short enough.
What are you weighing right now?
Right now, it kind of fluctuates. I'm a little under 120 right now.
What are you off season I know you're competing this weekend?
Season, I don't really fluctuate that much. I probably stay around 125 in the off season.
Okay.
It changes my composition changes. My body will change a lot, but my weight won't.
So did you play any sports like softball, volleyball, basketball, skiing, snowboard? Did you do any of those kind of things?
I did. I was a gymnast. Okay. I ran track, cross country, And those were my main things. I'm a very much of an obsessive person. Like when I focused on something, I wanted to be the best at it. And I found success in running and I just kind of took off with that. But funny story, when I was in junior high, there was a PE program. It was called like it was a trunks based program. So you start seventh grade with white shorts,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Prescott Junior High. You start school with white trunks. And then you have to do a certain amount of push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, run certain times, and you advance to red shorts. They call red trunks. And so you get to wear these shorts at PE and wear it with pride because you're wearing your achievement, right?
Hmm.
And so the highest level went like white, red, blue, and then gold. So gold trunks was like the ultimate. Like nobody earned their gold trunks, right? Well, I earned my gold trunks in my seventh grade year. It was like the soonest that anybody earned their gold trunks. And I remember I was so proud of myself. I wore those things with pride and I was struggling in school. I also have a twin sister who was brilliant in school. She was, I mean, acing everything. And then, you know, for me, PE and physical fitness was kind of like my outlet. You know what I mean?
So don't you find that kind of odd? Because it's kind of the same way with my sister and I. I know that, you know, she always says, you know, I played, she played softball, but my sister was always the straight A student. She was like, wherever she was at, she always had a book in her hand and she was reading and everything else. And I was the one out playing with the boys, tackling and playing baseball and everything. But it seems like when there's siblings like that, one is always, not always, but it seems to be one's like athletic and one's like that straight A student, you know? It's like, it's very rare when you find both combined.
It is. It is. I think as you get older, you start to recognize that there are multiple forms of intelligence, and you almost go back in time and remember things that you were good at and things that you weren't so good at. And when you're younger, you don't realize this because there's this like formal rubric that you're being tested on, and that's all that you know. You know you either do good at it or you do bad at it. You have these very like standardized testing forms of this is, you're either smart or you're not. And I think as you get older and you find success in your life, you realize I'm really smart. I'm just not smart in the way that, you know, was rewarded when I was younger. And a lot of the most successful people that I know never went to college. You know, people who find a lot of success in life, there's so many different ways that people can utilize the form of intelligence that they have. And I think the best thing that anyone can do is to realize that just because it's not rewarded when you're younger, you know, finding the outlet that you're finding success in and go with that. That's for me, as you get older, you kind of learn that, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. And I love encouraging young girls and young boys that, you know, it's like get involved in sports. I mean, especially girls, let's go there. It's because it's like, you know, that is what kept me in school. To be honest with you, I was like yourself. I wasn't the straight A student. I did just enough to get by. You know, I was like just to pass that grade because all I wanted to do is go out and play sports. That was my main thing, you know, and that's what I excelled at. So I knew that I had to pass my classes, but I wasn't that straight A student. And so, but it kept me in school and it kept me engaged and it kept me involved in things. And so I always encourage parents to encourage their young kids to get involved in sports. I mean, get them away from those stupid iPads and their phones constantly. It's like, you know, if there's no sports in your area, find them because they're there. You know, so I'm trying to find a charity right now, as a matter of fact, that supports young adults and young, you know, teenagers too, for the sports level and keep that moving. But more about that later. So tell me, when did you discover bodybuilding? You know, because obviously it is bodybuilding. Okay, I know you're in figure and I know that, but it's like, when did you find that? When did you get into the gym?
It's funny. I used to be really defensive about the term bodybuilding because when I first started, it was bodybuilding and figure and fitness. I'm like, I'm not a bodybuilder, but now it's like bodybuilding is an umbrella. Everybody calls themselves a bodybuilder now. It's kind of funny.
It is an umbrella.
In 2008, I was actually still running track and I was training for the Olympic trials. And I had no idea about the world of bodybuilding or anything, but I had started dating my now husband. We had been dating for a month and he was a bodybuilder. And I'm like, oh, what is this? This is interesting. And he actually came to watch me run some of my track races. And I was really really fascinated by the way he was dieting and bring his Tupperwares around everywhere. I'm like, that is so weird, but okay. Um, I mean, I was fueling myself off of like pasta and, whatever else. And so then unfortunately, I got a stress fracture in my foot like a month and a half or something like that before the Olympic trials. And I mean, I was devastated because at that time I was 26 already. And I mean, thinking about your longevity in a sport like track, it's kind of like it starts hitting you. I'm thinking, the next Olympics is in 2000, I'm going to be 30 years old. I mean, for me, I'm thinking, gosh, like what the hell? So he's like, let me just train you for a contest, just get your mind off of things. And I was able to get around my injury and just keep training. And I think it was like maybe 5 months or something like that after I got hurt that I did my first show. And I honestly, as soon as I did my first show, I never looked back. I just continued going down that path because it felt so right. It just felt like this like sport that I always was meant to be in for whatever reason. And it was so natural for me. And I had been fighting my muscle like my whole life, just trying to keep myself from getting too muscular so I could run faster. And then all of a sudden I was building muscle so easily. And it was so natural for me to just go down this road,
Oh, I absolutely. And not only that, and I know you hear this, but you're 5 foot. So your muscle, okay. Now correct me if I'm wrong because I hear this all the time, but the length of the muscle, when people are tall, their muscles are longer. So it's harder to get that that bulk on it.
You should have seen me around the track. It was kind of funny because at the level that I was racing in the 800, which was the race I did, I would get on the line and it would be like me and then everybody else. And it was always kind of a joke because my legs would be like,
yeah.
And I always enjoyed that, but people would always point that out, you'd be faster if you had, I'm like, you know what?
Right.
I can hold my
what do you want me to do? Stretch? I mean, how do you do this? Did you find early success early on? I mean, did you win your first show? How did that work?
I won my first overall. I won my second overall. And then when my foot healed, I did fitness and I won the fitness in my first show. And then I won like the first 4 overalls and then I went to nationals.
Wow.
So then I went to nationals and I'm like, this is going to be easy. I'm going to get my pro card. Like I got this. And I got my butt kicked. I got like 6th place. And honestly, I think that that's the best thing that could ever happen to somebody, is to be humbled because it's not that I wasn't taking it seriously. It was just that when you win so much, we don't ascribe a value that you need to. And it's like all the times that you lose that you start to realize how valuable something is to you, So when I got 6th, I was like, oh, so now I have to work really hard. Okay. And then I competed again. I just kept doing national shows because you qualify, like 2 years out. And then I did my next one and I got like 4th. I'm like, what the hell? When am I going to get my pro card? And then I got like 2nd, then I got 4th. It was my 5th time. And I won the overall at the USA Championships in 2011. And by the time I won my pro card, it meant so much to me because I had to work so hard for it. And it wasn't easy. And then, and fast forward to now, and I mean, I've lost a hell of a lot more than I've won, but that's where, what keeps you going, right?
What do you contribute to your success? I mean, is it more mindset, discipline, consistency? I mean, what do you really contribute to your success?
The success is interesting because your who you create in yourself kind of feeds the success, right? And what I mean by that is you need to be like just what I just said, you need to be humbled in something that means something to you and then see what you have. What do you got, right? You proved yourself what kind of person you are when you handle defeat. It's not what happens to you, it's how you handle it, right? And you're creating who you are. So if you get, if you have a loss or you have a defeat or whatever, like if you walk away from that, then you're forever going to sit with that and say, I'm the kind of person who quits. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously, you sit with that and you carry that with you. And that becomes who you are ingrained in your makeup. But if you get yourself back up and you fight yourself through it, then you're like, I'm the kind of person, and you continue doing that. And all of a sudden you get to this point in your life where you have ultimately just completely decided that you created this person who literally does not give up. And it's kind of like the success feeding itself as you go, right? And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I've proven to myself so many times that I just don't quit, that it's just in me to go, well, it doesn't matter what happens. I know I'm gonna get myself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, can you relate to that? You have
100%, because as you were talking about this, I was realizing in my own mind that my bodybuilding days really set me up for who I am today. You know, because people are like, wow, Lori, you just keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going, even though you get the no's and no's and no's, and you just keep going. I said, well, that's interesting. And that is contributed to back when I was bodybuilding and training, because you're absolutely right. You hit plateaus, you keep going forward, you know, maybe you stumble a little bit or you lose, but you just never quit. You you find a way around it, you find a way over it, you learn to deal with it. All these different things. And you're absolutely right. You're creating the person who you are inside, not just the physical outer appearance.
Totally. It's funny. There was this one show, Matt and I had a group of athletes competing in, and there's this one girl, and she came off stage. She had got second place. She came off stage and she threw her trophy on the ground, and she was so upset. And I was like, and I went and followed her, and I was explaining to her, you know, you can't do that. That's just poor sportsmanship and everything like that. And I said, you know, she was like, I just never lose. I said, well, you never lose. How many things have you competed in? She's like barely ever done anything in her life, right? This is like one of the first things she's ever really competed in. I said, well, you haven't competed enough to lose. You know, you can't, you know, if you've only done things that you've won at, you don't have enough experience. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, they feel very entitled when they work really hard at something. They only know relative to what they know, right? So if you have never done anything in your life and you work so hard at something the first time ever, you're going to feel like you deserve or you're entitled to some outcome that you worked hard for. But what you don't know is that there's a whole plethora of people who have also worked hard, who have also probably failed and gotten back up. And those people are going to be in the ring with you. And then if you don't, you know, if it's not your time, you know, whatever it is that you're competing in, it doesn't have to be bodybuilding, but whatever it is that you're doing, if somebody outdoes you in some way, shape, or form, then, you know, that's an opportunity for you to find out who you are. Like, how are you going to handle that? How are you going to get back up? But a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't have it in them. And it's an unfortunate fact. I wish that everybody could experience how awesome it feels to get themselves back up. It's the best feeling ever. But, you know, there's a lot of people that they just they can't handle that, you know?
I do remember too that when I was competing and dieting and training, and it just depends on like you said, the plethora of people that are involved. And let's say take your competition or anything in life. It's like, is somebody going to work a little bit harder? Are they going to put a little bit more time in? Are they going to get out of their comfort zone? You know, kind of thing. Are they going to stay in their comfort zone? I remember when I was dieting for these shows, you know, I'd look at that Snicker bar and go, whoever wins first place, I bet is not going to have that Snicker bar. You know? And so you do, they're just little things like that, you know, but those little things, they all add up at the end, you know? So, and that's one thing that I think it's like training and fitness and bodybuilding. It's not just physical on the outside. It's an educational experience, you know, that a lot of people don't. They don't understand. And by the way, it's all you. You don't have a team around you to where, like, if something happens, your teammate can take up that little slack. No, it's all you, you know, and that's what is so really impressive. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at you right now, and your shoulders and your arms just look beautiful. I love them. To me, I'm sorry, but when it comes to females, yes, arms and shoulders are the sexiest thing on a female. It really is. I mean, maybe it's just because of the fact that you probably feel the same way in a way because you work your ass off for them.
Oh yeah, trust me. Like I appreciate it. I work really hard for, what I create. And I think that, it's, I completely accept your compliment.
Oh, good. So let's talk about chat. Let's talk about that magic pill that a lot of people out there believe that there is,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there just isn't. I mean,
Right.
I actually got invited to do the morning show up in Canada. And,
Yeah.
they always give you the questions beforehand, and they wanted to talk about Ozempic. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Ozempic.
They
Mm-hmm.
wanted to talk about this because that's the big fad now. That's the big magic
Yeah.
pill that's happening. And
Yeah.
I was very, very honest. It wasn't like I sugarcoated anything. We didn't get to talk about it on the air. But at the same time, it's like every year or every decade or whenever it is, there's this magic pill that comes out,
Yeah.
And before Ozempic, what was it? It was Olean or something like that.
Oh yeah, that stupid stuff you put on your food to like
well,
your cravings.
well, I don't know if it was something like that, but remember it was in the potato chips and it actually gave you anal leakage.
Yes. Oh yeah, it goes right through
Yes.
you and it doesn't fully digest. Oh, that's horrible.
So there are all these different things. And so I want to talk to people out there that are actually thinking about taking this to lose weight.
Right.
They need to do their research on this. It's a diabetic medication. If you're not diabetic, don't take a diabetic medication.
Right.
I mean, I understand a lot of doctors are, they're subscribing this stuff. I mean, how do you feel about this when people come to you and go, okay, how do you feel about this, Wendy? What about the magic pill this year?
Well, I think it's important to realize that, drugs are not a free ride, even for the patients who require them. Mm-hmm. I mean, people who have diabetes, yes, they need to take a medication like Ozempic in order to regulate their condition, but it never comes without risks, right? But you always weigh out the risks to reward. If somebody is going to suffer with diabetes, they need something to help them with that, right? But if the normal average everyday person is taking Ozempic, I mean, Ozempic it's dangerous. They don't quite know the mechanism behind this, but it does crazy things like it cuts off the blood supply in your intestines. It's been linked to, I think, thyroid cancer. It's been linked to heart conditions. And, the ultimate fact is that it's not a free ride. And if somebody doesn't have diabetes, they're taking a huge risk on their body, right? Also, like I think something that people don't realize, especially as we get older, is when you lose fat really fast, you lose fat everywhere, including your face. Your skin can hang. You can look more old. You can look older. And also with such rapid fat loss, you're also going to experience rapid muscle loss, I would assume, right?
Yes.
So you're going to experience you're not going to create something with your body. You're ultimately just, shedding pounds. And there's a lot of people that don't even really need to lose a lot of weight who are taking something like this because just for vanity reasons. And it's just such a huge risk that I think just like with any medication that is prescribed to a patient, it's, you always have to weigh out your risk to reward ratios. And if it's not something that you need for a medical condition, even somebody with a medical condition would be better off without this, but they need it, right?
It's like opening the bottle of prescription medicine and you get this big long list of side effects.
Oh yeah.
And people,
it's not a free ride for anyone.
No, and most people just go, "Oh, I'm not going to read this because it'll scare the shit out of me." Well, they should read it when it comes to things like this. Because
I mean,
there are things that, like you said, that are linked to it. And it's like, maybe it's the new hot thing now, but always know 2 to 3 to 5 years down the road, they go, "Oh, by the way, guess what we found out?" And then these people are like, "Oh shit, why did I take that?"
Yeah, I think there was somebody who had to have part of their intestines actually removed. They had like ischemia of the intestines, like it just cut off the blood supply, just like they don't know the mechanism behind how this works yet. But for whatever reason, there are people that they're actually having parts of their intestines lose a blood supply. And there are cases in which people have had to have parts of their intestines removed from
it's
taking this.
dangerous. And
it's like horrible.
There was another aspect to it to where it slows down the digestive. So the food sits longer in your stomach. I mean, we have stomach acid for a reason. Our bodies work in a perfect scenario for a reason. You know, you don't want that food sitting in your stomach, because the other thing, once that food starts sitting in your stomach, also it can create pockets around your stomach, you know, the linings. And then I heard everything is just so dangerous about it. So
you're just messing with the chemistry of your body.
You are messing with it. So I'm glad that we had this conversation, because there's so many people out there that go, hey, I'm thinking about taking this magic pill and I need to lose 15, 20 pounds. Well, maybe you don't necessarily need to lose 15, 20 pounds. Maybe you need to get in the gym and start lifting some weights and put some muscle on your body. So therefore you will lose that body fat the more muscle that you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it's not a free ride.
I preach that all the time, and it's just so infuriating, you know?
What's scary is how many people are acquiring diabetes these days. I mean, type 2 diabetes is definitely rampant, and people who are overweight and obese are at a higher risk of diabetes for sure. So there are some cases in which a drug like this is unfortunately necessary, but not ideal. I mean, somebody who is overweight and is, has diabetes, yes, a drug like this may be necessary to kind of get the party started, but ultimately, that would be somebody who's unwilling to go to the gym and, work out and regulate their blood sugar with a healthy diet and exercise. I mean, that is the best way to do it, honestly, the most long living path to success.
So what would you say to somebody that goes, oh God, no, I can't go in the gym. I get anxiety, but yet I have no muscle on my body and I don't eat that much. And so what I call these people is like a skinny fat, to where if they jumped on one of those in-body scales, and let's say they hypothetically weigh 145, 150, I bet you money that their body fat level is up to 30, 35%, because they've never worked out with weights.
The thing, unfortunately, Lori, is like when it comes to making a human behavior change, people who are unaware that a change needs to be made are at the very beginning of the behavior change stage, right? So somebody who is super aware of their condition, like me and you, telling them you need to do this, this, and this is not going to get through to somebody in that stage, right? So if you're taking somebody from like an unaware state, somebody who eats pizza and drinks beer at night has no idea that it's unhealthy, right? They don't understand. They like, exercise is your thing, reading books is my thing. Like that, the group of people that are not, it's not going to really be effective to tell them you need to lose weight, you're unhealthy, right? Because they're not aware, they don't care, right? So to take somebody like that through to the awareness state first, and then making, taking the, first plunge, maybe getting a gym membership, and then, carrying on through the actual change of behavior, it takes a lot, right? I mean, to get somebody aware is usually like they go to see the doctor and they find out that they have deathly high blood pressure. Their bone density is Swiss cheese. They have, and they're confronted with a sense of urgency. Like, if you don't do something about this now, you're going to die in X amount of years. That's usually the scare that drives people to some type of awareness, right? Not necessarily action, but at least it'll make them aware. And that's the first place that we need to get people to, is just this awareness of, it's not just you are into this and I'm into this. It's like, you need to understand that there's a huge, you're cutting years off of your life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's so sad that it takes somebody that painstaking level, because that's really what it is. It takes that pain in order to do something about it. When in fact, it's like, why are you waiting until you do hit the doctor and they say, by the way, your cholesterol's through the roof, your blood pressure is high, you're on the verge of being a diabetic. And all of a sudden they go, oh shit. And then you're right. They'll sit on it for about 5-6 months, 5 to 6 months. And then they'll go, oh, well, maybe I'll hire a personal trainer. and it's really interesting. And it doesn't take that much effort. And that's what I try to understand. I try to get to people to look at and go, you guys, it isn't that much effort. Maybe take at least, start with 30 minutes a day. You don't need like that much time. Take 30 minutes a day, work it up to 45, work it up to an hour a day of exercise. And that's not 7 days a week. Start with 3 to 4 days a week.
Yeah. And you're not speaking their language.
I know. And it's like, I really do just want to encourage people to get in there, because I can't tell them how good that I feel. They need to feel it themselves. I have energy. At my age, I can run circles around people in their 20s and 30s. And they're just like, oh my God. And it's because of the way that my lifestyle is. I do train. I do watch my diet. Not like you, but but it becomes a habit, and that's really it is. It's changing.
When you come out to Wolfpack, we're gonna toast to something, and we'll have a Snickers bar together. How about that?
It's so funny. I don't even eat those anymore. It's always the one thing that when they say you can't have something, you go, oh, well, wait a minute. I think I want that.
That's when you want it. Yeah,
exactly.
You want what you can't have. I know. When I can have it, I won't want it.
Exactly. And to be honest with you, I don't eat Snickers. I don't eat candy bars anymore. I can have whatever I want.
Okay,
I just don't.
What do you like? Okay, what would you, if you had like something, a treat or something, like what would it be?
Okay. So truth be told, I usually have some type of sweet every evening, and it's not a lot. I'll have maybe, so it's Girl Scout cookie season, right?
Right.
Okay. So like I love their chocolate thin mints, or I love their little peanut butter ones, but that only means that I'll have like 2 to 3. That's it. I'm done. That's all you need. I just needed like that sweet tooth kind of thing. Yeah. I am definitely not one of those people to where I can open the cookie, the cookie thing, the little packet, and I have to eat the whole thing. I don't need that. Give me 2 to 3 and I'm satisfied.
I'm like that too.
And it's just I don't know if it's a discipline thing. I don't know if it's a mindset thing, but you know how many people, you've heard this story where they go, I open one, I eat the whole pack.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like that either. I just need a little something. I eat something sweet every night too, pretty much. Yeah. When I'm not getting ready for a show, I usually have like some type of treat of some type before bed.
So now you have been in the fitness industry for how many years now that you've been competing overall? How many years would you say that is, roughly?
So I've been competing for 15 years.
15 years.
Yes.
So like you said, before you started competing, you were heavy on the pastas and on the energies and everything like that. Now that you've been competing for 15 years, and now that, let's say one day you decide you want to stop competing, what do you think that your diet would consist of? Would you keep it the same? Would you go more to carbs? I mean, how would it look for you?
I think that once I started introducing a lot more protein in my diet, I honestly wish I could go back in my track days and have more of the diet that I have on bodybuilding. Obviously not when I'm like weeks out, when I'm trying to like shred down, but having more protein in my diet is something I would definitely go back and change. It would have helped me run so much better, so much longer. I think I would have actually been a better athlete if I would have incorporated more protein in my diet and have enough. And so that's kind of my lifestyle now. I stay about like 4 to 5 weeks out from contest shape all the time, just because I love how I feel. Once I started eating more protein and more healthy, more vegetables, like you said, you can't really explain to people how good it makes you feel until you do it. Yeah. And once I eat, healthy all the time, I'm addicted to how it makes me feel. Yes. So I think I'm pretty much like a lifer.
So people that are watching the video, by the way, you're getting ready for a contest this coming weekend.
I am.
And what's your body fat level about right now?
I haven't checked it, but
roughly.
I would probably guess it's somewhere around like maybe 10%.
Oh, wow.
Something like that.
Now,
probably.
God, 10%. I remember I the lowest I think I ever got was 8. And that's awesome. That was 8. But in my off season, even today, I mean, most of the time I try to stay around, to be honest, probably about 18%. I'm happy with 16 to 18%. Really,
see, the thing is that I may even be higher than that, because people like really like underestimate what their body fat usually is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we forget sometimes that just the brain and the heart need 3% alone. So nobody can be under 3%. I mean, it's just not humanly possible. And people say, "Oh, 2% body fat." I'm like, okay, so like what part of your body doesn't have fat? Your heart or your brain, right?
I struggle with I want to keep the body fat on me because I'm getting older in my face. I want to keep the fat in my
me
face.
too. I know, that's what I hate. That's what I hate about right now. I hate when I'm close to a show and my face is like, but no, I think women tend to store more body fat. We look really lean, like really, really lean when we're in the low teens. So it's not like as low as people think it is. I mean, I've been at my peak. My peak shape is usually somewhere in like probably the low teens. So I think it's probably higher than people realize. 18 is really good. I wouldn't go lower than that on a regular basis if I was myself or anyone else, just because it's a healthy place to be,
Absolutely. For everyday average people, I think a good body fat weight would be roughly, to be honest with you, 20-25%.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Which would,
for a female,
yeah,
that's amazing.
It really is.
People don't realize that that's a really good. I mean, they think, oh my gosh, like 20% is a lot. No, it's not.
No.
It's not.
No.
It's actually really good.
And well, especially if you have the muscle on your body. And I always tell a lot of women, the more muscle you have, the leaner you're going to be, because that's just the way our bodies work. And even though you have that muscle on your body, you're not going to look like a man. You're not going to be, masculine. You can still have that real femininity type of appearance. Have you ever battled with that? I mean, coming up, like you've been doing this for 15 years, and let's be real, it's only been in the last 5 to 8 years to where it's like all these fitness chicks are out on, all the social media, and it's like, look at me, look at me. But before that, it wasn't really cool. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, that is something I can definitely relate to. When I first started competing in 2008, I would go to the gym and people would be like, "What are you doing?" Like when I first started really lifting weights and getting ready for my first show, people would be like, "What do you do?" Like nobody really understood it or anything like that. After a few years, when they added like the bikini division and stuff like that, a lot more people started competing. And I would walk into the gym, and then I would say right around like 2012, 2013, people were like, "Oh, do you compete?" And it was so weird to me because all of a sudden it started becoming, and social media started, and all of a sudden it became this thing where people knew about it and were asking about it. And that was kind of interesting, it became more socially accepted. The being able to be in all the phases of evolution of like the cultural shift to women with muscle has been pretty fascinating to me. But yes, now it's so accepted and embraced compared to what it used to be. I don't really get the mean comments as much anymore. Like, usually if it's mean, it's usually from like another woman,
that's a little
like,
overweight.
I want you to know that I think it looks good. I mean, my husband doesn't want me to look like that, but I think it looks good. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a good compliment.
It's like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah. Like, wow, okay, well, better not look like me. You don't want to like piss your husband off.
Oh my God, girl. I remember when I started training, and I told the story once before, and I was actually dating my training partner at that point in time. His name was David. And we were in Venice Beach, and we were walking down, and I remember I heard one guy out of the corner of my ear go, "Damn, her arms are bigger than his." And I just went, I kind of went like this. I kind of sank down and went, oh my God. And it wasn't for me so much. I felt bad for him. You know what I mean? Because I was like, oh dear God, I don't want him to feel all insecure and shit, because even then it's like, even today, yes, it's way more socially accepted. It's, all the women are in the fitness and everything. I still though, I mean, I'll be out and I'll still have guys look at me like, and they're not quite sure, do they like it? Do they not like it? Are they secure with themselves? Because if there's a guy out there that really doesn't, let's say, train, okay, and he's just a normal everyday guy, he's going to feel a little bit insecure. Like, oh shit, definitely. That girl's got abs and I got a little pot belly going on right here.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be that. And I think, it's not like it's available to people like that. I mean, it's like if somebody has like a strong opinion about my body, like I don't like that. It's like, well, turns out works out perfect because I don't like that either. So we're good. We're totally like on the same page. That's kind of, this is the reality of the matter is that, people are going to, people's confidence in themselves is going to really drive what they go after in life. And that's, in their relationships, in their careers. When you feel good about yourself, when you feel confident in yourself, you're gonna pursue people and things that you feel are, like the value that you feel you are, right? And so unfortunately that goes the opposite direction too. When people are feeling insecure with themselves, they tend to look down on people that they think are, maybe out of their realm or whatever. And, then they lash out or they're rude or they're mean. And I think it's important for everybody, to understand that and not take it personally and not take it to heart. I've had to learn that. You've had to learn that. It's, when you're younger, I feel like I took it more personally. I feel like I was kind of like trying to please people too much. And then you get to a point in your life and you just like, you don't give a shit anymore. And you just,
and that's when you get older.
That you're going to be who you want to be.
That's when you get older. Yeah, no, you're right. Because I would take it so personally. I just felt like there was a dagger in my heart, when I'd hear these comments, and I would take it, I'd take it to heart, and it would hurt. It hurt my feelings. And a lot of people don't understand that even, yes, a very muscular female that does have a lot of confidence, you can say mean things and it still hurts our feelings. But you're right. Yeah. As I've gotten older, I just don't give a shit. I really don't care what they think about what I look like, because you're not me and I'm not you. And you do you, and I'm going to do me, and we're all going to be happy, kind of thing. Yep. So let's transition a little bit, and that is going back into the industry. Okay, so when I was in it, we're going to go back to when I was in it. Yes, let's go back.
Yes, let's.
50 years ago. No. There was like in the industry for females to compete, everybody, including myself, we had to really dabble a little bit in the steroid industry. And that's what, even today, again, I'm gonna say it, even today, I still have people constantly asking me, did you do steroids when you were bodybuilding? Did the other girls do steroids? Is that drug still very apparent and very available in the bodybuilding community now? Are the girls still doing it, or is it kind of slowed off a little bit?
I think so, but I think that unfortunately, I always like say when somebody dives into that and into the wrong things and they don't know what they're doing, it's like they're on the clock, because your body produces hormones at a certain rate. And when you start introducing things like, exogenous forms of hormones into your body, your endogenous hormone supply starts to suppress. And at first, when a lot of people try things for the first time, maybe their body responds really well to it, but eventually your own endogenous supply starts to suppress, and you need more and more and more. And unfortunately, in the female side of things, that turns out to, ruin, the voice and the beauty and like the muscle shape and the way that the structure of the hips, the structure of the muscle, a lot of things start to change after, a few years. So you don't have a lot of longevity. And unfortunately, because of social media and because of like people wanting everything yesterday, we do have like, and this is really sad to say, but we have like people coming into the industry brand new, and they want, I've been at this for 15 years and they're like, I want to look like that now. Yeah. And so they jump into the fast-paced track. And unfortunately, that's kind of the result, is that you might pass me up right off the bat. And then unfortunately, because you get on the clock, everything starts to catch up to you very quickly. You know what I mean?
Health reasons too. Obviously, the research is done.
Yeah, I'm just talking about performance. I haven't even talked about health, but yes, I mean, that's the most important thing, obviously. Yeah.
Well, that's the big thing too. It's like they want instant gratification now. They don't want to put in the work. And they don't understand that these athletes have really put in the years, the grind, you know, everything like that. Anything, any type of success you get, a long success, you have to put in the time. You have to put in the work. So the steroid industry is really kind of like, it is a shortcut. It's a quick fix, but longevity overall, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to be healthy for you.
Well, I mean, go back to the results and then I'll talk about health. But I will say this, you know, when I first started training with weights, I actually did not have the best connections with my body, right? I was a gymnast and a track athlete. So a lot of the muscles that had already been developed from gymnastics and track were the first muscles to want to build. My traps, my obliques, like my back was kind of not really, I wasn't hitting it right. So I kind of had this conglomeration of muscle all over my body when I first started training with weights, because you're kind of, every exercise is a skill. You're learning how to target your muscles in the right way. So if you jump right in off the bat and you start taking stuff that helps you grow your muscle, and you haven't mastered the art of strength training, you're gonna build really large muscles in places that can throw off your symmetry and your proportion, right? So it actually behooves you to go into a process where you're learning the skill of weight training. You're learning how to engage your muscles. And then if you want to go do that down the road, once you've mastered the art of finding everything, then you can actually create something that's really aesthetic and makes a lot more sense. But that's another thing too, is, I mean, you know, talking about the result side of things, obviously we're talking about health now, but I just want to touch on that really quick.
I know, I gotcha. But health-wise, it's just like the worst thing you could. I mean, yes, people know because of the documentary and everything. I dabbled in my first couple, you know, years. But the other thing is that the judges, if they weren't picking the biggest ripped girls all the time, then it wouldn't force the girls to go in that area. But that was just bodybuilding. And that's why I'm so happy that they introduced bikini, they introduced figure, they introduced all these different divisions to where the girls go, okay, well, I can be natural and I can train my ass off and look this good. You know, which is brilliant, because I blamed a lot of the judges. To be honest with you, I really did. I blamed the industry and the judges for the girls, because then they'd look at the girls and go, excuse me, but why are you taking steroids? Well, excuse me, but why are you picking the biggest, most ripped girls? You're forcing them to.
Yeah. It drives the direction of what people are willing to do, you know, and people get really lost in that. You know, people do tend to lose themselves. I've made a conscious effort not to ever lose myself in the sport. Like I've always made it an outlet for myself, a platform for myself, but have really tried to not lose myself, because you could become very obsessive and lost in that whole game of, you know, being so hyper focused on wanting to win that you're in a bubble, right? You're almost in this like echo chamber bubble where you don't realize that certain things are happening to maybe your body and your voice and your face, and you're just so focused on what, you know, you're after. And then when all the dust settles and the sun goes down and you step away from that, I've seen so many girls that, you know, after it's all over, there's not a lot available to them, you know, when all these side effects have kind of kicked in and stuff like that. So, you know, I mean, I think that if somebody wants to have success and another thing too, that I didn't even bring up, but this is super important, is that, and this is something that you and I can relate to, but, you know, bodybuilding really isn't for everyone. And what I mean by that is, you're genetically inclined to do something in life, right? And it may not be physical. It could be a plethora of different things. But for people like me and you who are total mesomorphs, right? We build muscle really easily. So it's natural for us. We don't have to go to extremes in order to build muscle. Not a lot of people are like that. So if somebody has to go to extremes just to build a little bit of muscle, I would say it's probably not for you, right? It's probably not the right path for you. If you have to go and do so much stuff just to get a little bit of muscle on your body, that I wouldn't encourage that, right? Because then you're going to ruin yourself. So there's that too, right?
So let's take the everyday average person. What would we tell them? Okay, let's say they're late 40s, early 50s. They have a hard time putting on muscle. They want to. They have a home gym. Let's say they want to build. Every girl in the world wants to build up their glutes now. It's like the thing, you know? And it's like, I get these messages though. Oh, I'm doing squats. I'm doing lunges. I'm doing all these things, but nothing's happening. You know, I mean, what do you tell these girls? I know what I tell them, but what would you say to someone in that aspect? And it's like they've been training for, let's say, 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have a lot of questions because there's a lot of variables in there potentially. From experience, I know that when people say I've been doing something for 6 months, I need to know details like how many times a week, how consistent, what's your form like? Are you focusing on your mind muscle connections? Are you, there are so many things in that equation that I would say need to be questioned in order to assess what is the problem.
Food.
To solve the problem, oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's such a no-brainer part of it. So, I mean, if you're going to give a one word answer, I would say definitely the food. But aside from the food, I do think that like the training aspect of it is really lacking a lot of times. Even when people think that they're consistent, I've had so many people, they think they're consistent, and then I start asking more questions, and turns out they exercise like a crazy workout on a Saturday, and they didn't even go back to the gym until like Wednesday, and they feel entitled to get results with that type of a schedule, right?
Oh, is that bad? I'm kidding. Like, hey, that's my training schedule now.
As long as your expectations match your commitment, you're good.
I'm like,
your expectations are here and your commitment is here, then we got to lower your expectations. If your commitment is here, then your expectations can be here. We're good.
Yeah, my expectations are here, and my commitment level is somewhere in between. No, actually, I'll be honest with you. Obviously, as time goes on, it's gotten a little more lax. That's just normal. Thank you. I do. Yeah. I still train hard. I mean, I really do. Great. I go in and I lift heavy. You know,
you have a great foundation too.
Thank you. And I think, that came from my early on sports and everything. And I've done it for so many years now. I mean, you sit with women. How many times a week are you doing FemFlex, your podcast and stuff? How many times a week?
So FemFlex Fridays every Friday.
Okay. And you're with some amazing women.
And then I do. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And they're a little older.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Linda Murray, she's my ride or die. Me and her, man, we're always there. And so she's kind of become sort of my mentor in life and just in everything in the fitness industry. She's kind of helped me kind of navigate through spaces and stuff. But she is, you would not believe it, but she's 62.
Ah, God, thank God somebody's older than me.
She looks amazing. I mean, it's crazy. But see, with you have such a great foundation that's the thing people don't realize too, is when you build such a solid foundation, you do have, and people are going to get mad when I say this, but you do get away with a lot more, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
Take a few days off and it's not going to affect you. Whereas, somebody's just getting going and they don't have the momentum, they don't have a foundation, it's going to take a lot more work. And you've earned that though. It's like almost like you've earned tenure with your body, right?
I like that.
You've got like earned body tenure.
It's funny because I do love training and it makes me mentally feel amazing. And that's the other thing a lot of people don't understand is it just your endorphins, everything just makes the day. You walk outside, the birds are chirping, it's sunny out. I mean, maybe not in all parts of, the US, but my point is that that's how you feel. And that's what I try to get across to people is it's not just about the physical appearance. It's not about that. It's about how you feel, how much energy you have, longevity, where are you going in your life? Do you have mental clarity? I mean, all these different aspects. And so that's why I was so excited to sit and talk with you today, because you are in the thick of it right now. This is your life. You are doing everything. So tell me about the show that you're getting ready for this weekend.
This is, it's called the Triple O Dynasty. And it's, so 3 Miss Olympias, Whitney Jones, Andrea Shaw, and Sid Gillen. They're is it called tri-promoters or co-promoters?
Same thing. I gotcha.
They're tri-promoters. And they put this show together to really highlight, the more muscular divisions in our sport, bodybuilding, women's physique, and figure. They wanted to really, kind of have a really good platform for all of us. And it's exciting. It's going to be a really good list in the figure division. There's some really strong competitors. I feel really good. I think
Are you ready?
regardless of what happens, I always feel proud of myself going in, and who knows what the outcome is going to be. I never go to get second, I'll tell you that.
Good. How long are you going to compete for?
Oh, it's funny you asked that.
I'm asking it.
Yeah, I'm kind of right now in a very interesting place in my life. I feel like I'm entering a new chapter of my life, right? I just started this awesome new career path with Wolfpack, and I'm really excited about it. I'm going to dedicate a lot of my time to it. And I feel so at peace with my journey in competition. I don't feel burnt out at all. I still feel excited about it. I'm passionate about it, but I'm not like feeling like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do when my competition days are over? I'm kind of like, whatever happens right now, I'm kind of at peace with.
That's awesome.
If this was my last show, I would feel at peace. That's how I feel right now.
So
everything is kind of a bonus round right now for me.
So are you saying it could be your last show? Could retirement be on the forefront possibly?
I'll say that everything from now on is kind of a bonus round, you know?
I like how you skirted around that one.
So, I mean, I've competed in 7 Olympias.
That's a lot.
I feel really proud of myself for that. And I feel good about it. And I don't know, I'm open to anything. And if it was my last show this weekend, I would be at peace with that. Yes.
Okay. So let's hypothetically say maybe this could be your last show. Hypothetically. So
Okay.
hypothetically, it's your last show. I'm wondering if you and I should just go do the Amazing Race one day.
What? That would be so fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
We could either do the Amazing Race or we could do some adventure race. I mean, to where there's like...
I've done an adventure race before. That would be fun.
You have or have not?
So with like kayaking and running, hiking. Yeah.
Okay, wait, but were you in the jungle or some remote island or anywhere?
No, but it was like, I remember I had a mountain bike. I borrowed a mountain bike from somebody, and I remember the terrain was all crazy, and I felt like I was going to die the whole time, but it was so fun.
See, that's the best part of it. You know, no, I was thinking about that this morning. I'm like, oh my God, if she retires, we got to do into the Amazing Race or something. I actually had somebody, and I don't know who it is. So if you're listening to this podcast, I'll go back and read my messages again. But somebody actually asked me if I would do the Amazing Race with them.
And you would choose me.
And I would totally choose you.
Well, hello.
I mean,
let's do it.
And then there's another show that's doing some casting for another, for elite athletes, okay, that we could team up on. I mean, there's like all these fun, cool stuff. And one of my,
I'll be your teammate.
Deal. I mean, because you're a runner. I'm not. I could kayak. I could do everything else. I could mountain climb.
I used to be a runner. I used to be a runner. I don't know how fast I am, but I could do it still probably.
Oh, you totally could.
I'll do it.
Oh,
I'll do it.
How much fun would that be?
That would be really fun. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be kind of scary and everything, but it'd be fun. Oh my God, I'd love to do that.
Do we ever take on a challenge that isn't actually scary when we like jump in?
No.
I mean, that's kind of like our MO.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I know people think that everything that we do isn't scary, but literally everything that we do is scary. So,
but,
I mean,
you know,
it's different.
My big saying is, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room.
Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, can I steal that?
You can steal that. I've actually, my very first girlfriend, Trinity, and we had that little saying. So I've had that ever since gladiator days, you know, as if you're not living on the edge. And because I've always done that. That's my life, you know? Yeah. But absolutely. I mean, there's so many different things I'm still not done with that. It would be so much fun to do some adventure racing and everything.
I'd be honored. That would be so fun. Yes.
I say we throw our hat in the ring and just give it a go.
I say we do it.
Oh my God, it'd be so much fun. Wendy, you're amazing. And thank you for taking time with me today. And I'm actually very excited because I'm going to be coming on your podcast on Wolfpack pretty soon. So we'll definitely promote that and get all that out there on social media and have everybody listen to that. So it's your journey and what you've done and what you've accomplished in your life is obviously amazing. And the work, the success, the discipline, I don't think people quite understand what it takes to be at your level. You know, it literally is. It's discipline, mindset. It's like every single meal, every single, training, like I said, rest, really depends on your success. And I'm so proud of you. And you're just kicking ass and taking names right now.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome. I feel so honored to be chilling with Ice, and I honestly cannot wait to have you come to our headquarters at Wolfpack and interview you.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun.
Put you in the hot seat.
Do it, please. I love that. Absolutely. Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me. My website right now is cyberbodyshop.com. My Instagram handle is at Wendy Fortino. That's Fortino. Because you're saying my name. It's funny because in the past I've said Fortino and people have put 14-0.
No way.
It's actually, yeah, I know. It's kind of funny. I'm like, I have to say it's a name. Fortino. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So
that is very exciting. And I'm really excited about, to be honest with you, your life ahead of time, what's happening in your future, because with all the discipline that you've had throughout your life, you're just going to, everything's just going to come. I'm not going to say it's going to come easy, but yet I can tell you're going to be very successful at whatever you put your mind to. That's just who you are. What sign are you, by the way?
I'm on the cusp of Scorpio, Sagittarius, but it's usually Sagittarius because it's November 22nd, and I think that's normally Sagittarius. Are you into that?
A little bit. I'm in Aries. I think all Aries. I think all Aries know Aries.
So what is Aries? What does that mean? What are you?
Okay, my birthday was just a couple days ago, so it was March 28th.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. And actually, just to be transparent, my very first podcast was aired on my birthday last year. So I'm very excited. Chilling with Ice is officially 1 year old.
1 year.
And I'm so excited.
Awesome.
And I want to, again, thank all my listeners and supporters for the podcast. You guys have been awesome. And without you, I would have no podcast because nobody would be listening to me. Half the people probably don't anyway, but who cares?
We don't care about them.
No, I'm an Aries and it's a fire sign. And it's kind of, I don't know. There's so much to it. Just look up Aries. And it's
okay. I'm gonna look it up.
When you look up Aries, it's going to say Lori Fetrick.
Is it accurate? So when I look it up,
it's pretty accurate. Yeah,
I feel like it's accurate.
It really is. It really is. So Wendy, thank you so much. I will see you in a couple weeks. And everybody, thank you so much for listening to Chillin' with Ice today. And this is where legends live on. Thank you so much for listening to Chillin' with Ice. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share wherever you listen to your podcast. Remember to follow us on Patreon and YouTube at Chillin' with Ice. And on Instagram and TikTok, you can follow me at lori.ice.fetrick. I look forward to chilling with you next time here on Chillin' with Ice.